Hi, I'm Heather with First Pioneers Federal Credit Union, and welcome to the Money Tips No One Told You podcast. Here at First Pioneers, we love helping you understand your finances better and giving you the tools you need to be financially successful. Here, we're going to talk about financial terminology, how different accounts work. We're going to share tips that make your financial life easier, and so much more. Are you ready to dive in? I know we talk a lot about the things to do financially to get ready to purchase a home, and I know at times it can be a bit overwhelming, but I actually want to take it one step further today and share some insights from actual first-time homeowners and some lessons that they learned. I think a few of them were a bit unexpected for those new homeowners. One of the big ones that we heard about was having savings set aside for unexpected expenses that might come up. I know we actually talk about that a lot, and I think some of these first-time homeowners found out just how important that really was. From a leaky faucet to a sudden appliance breakdown, it's really crucial to have a financial buffer for those unforeseen costs. So that emergency savings will give you some peace of mind that you have the funds dedicated to making home repairs and dealing with that maintenance. And what it does is it'll prevent you from dipping into your general savings or relying on credit cards when unexpected expenses come up. Speaking of maintenance, we've also heard so much about people being taken by surprise at the amount of time and effort required for just routine maintenance. You've got lawn care, gutter cleaning, and it's easy to overlook these tasks when you're caught up in the excitement of owning a home. But regular maintenance is actually crucial to avoid a more significant problem down the line. And this goes to spending and time. So not only is it part of your budget for home maintenance, some homeowners find that they become DIYers whether they really wanted to or not. Being a renter, it can kind of spoil you a bit. You don't really have to worry about every little thing like you do when you own the house. Changing a faucet, even new light bulbs, or new ceiling fans when yours goes out. And of course, we said it before, that basic lawn care or landscaping. And I swear grass grows at a rate that just defies science at times. Now, of course, you can pay to have these things done, but that's often an extra expense that you may not have or you may not want to pay. Plus, you have to coordinate all those individuals to do the work, which can actually take longer as well. Some things are bigger and may require that you hire someone. For example, plumbing and electrical, those will often need people who are licensed. But other things can be done yourself if you're so inclined. But the truth is, all of it is probably going to cost something, even if it's a minor amount. So budget it and work on that savings account. One maintenance and expense item that I actually rarely think of, so I don't really mention it very often when I'm talking about these things, but it came up for a friend of mine recently, and that was her trees. If you have large trees in your yard, especially old trees, which a lot of us that live in the South, we have a lot of trees around, especially big oak trees and some areas even pine trees and things like that. And those are going to need to be dealt with from time to time. They may need to be trimmed so that they stay healthy. And of course, that helps them not lose limbs and things like that during these storms that we get during the summer, especially. And depending on where they are and what kind of trees they are, they may drop seeds and leaves, which can affect the maintenance of your gutters. So keep an eye on your trees and what kind of maintenance they may need. So all this maintenance is a responsibility that probably needs some managing, and there are actually several ways you could do that. I would consider creating a calendar or a schedule. So for example, remind yourself when you last checked all your smoke detectors, and then put a reminder in your calendar of when to do that again. Make a note of when you change your light bulbs and your air filters in your air conditioner. Maybe make a note of when you get new appliances. That'll help you if you ever need to use a warranty on that appliance. I've had times where something broke, and to be honest, I had just lost track of how long we had owned it. So it may have just reached its life expectancy. Unfortunately, those appliances won't last forever, so it's something that we actually have to save up for and be prepared to change from time to time. Also, keep in mind, automate anything that you can. Sprinkler systems, for example, things like that can be controlled with apps now. And the calendar that you use for your reminders, that could be on your phone or on your computer, so it pops up for you in a way that you'll easily see and be reminded to do those things. It can also be really helpful to find reliable professionals for those bigger maintenance projects. That can not only save you time, but it will ensure the quality of the work that's being done on those projects. This next part I thought was kind of fun. I actually have some things that people have told us they wish they would have noticed before they bought their house. And many of them are just things that would involve some extra expenses and maybe would require you to just sort of think ahead a little bit, perhaps plan a little bit for. None of them are bad or anything like that, just things that require a little more thought. Things I wish I would have noticed or thought about. Some people absolutely loved the gorgeous sloping lot they chose their new home on, but didn't think about wanting to maybe have a garden or something of that nature one day in the future. And then they had to actually build up the yard or look for more creative ways to plant with such a challenging landscape. So maybe consider what the yard looks like before you buy. Next, having lots of windows is great for letting in natural light or even airflow when the windows are open on a really pretty day. But what about curtains for all those windows? Window treatments can actually be fairly expensive, especially if the windows are kind of an odd size. Those may actually require being custom made. You wouldn't be able to just order them or walk into a local store and buy them off the shelf. So maybe just consider checking that out before you buy, and consider that as an expense to plan or save for as you're getting ready to move in. This one I think is actually a big one for a lot of people. When you're looking at the home you're considering, where are all the electrical outlets? I know one thing I loved about my house was the family that built it thought of things like that. They thought of you kind of always need an outlet. So there's plenty, and they're actually really well placed. So as you're looking at this home you're considering, look at the living room. Think about where your furniture would best fit. And then look at where are the outlets located. Let's say you want to put your TV on a specific wall. Is there a place to plug it in on that wall? What about lamps by your couch? Will there be somewhere to plug those in? Maybe then look at your bedroom. What about outlets near your bed if you want a lamp on a nightstand or something like that? Or what about a home office? Are the outlets on the proper wall for your desk and then to handle your computer and any other equipment you may have? And look, I know it may sound like a really simple thing, but it can actually become pretty big if it's not well planned. I don't know that it'll be enough to make you reconsider the purchase, but at least consider planning that expense and maybe even planning to have someone come and install more outlets for you if you need. Here's another one that I've never really put much thought into until recently. When you look at the house, is the roof normal? And what do I mean by normal? Is it kind of a straightforward roof with not too many peaks, or does it have a lot of different peaks and such? I'm going to be honest, until I actually needed a roof recently, I probably wouldn't have thought of that. But it can actually really affect the cost to replace a roof. Not the first thing most people think about, right? Like I said, I never would have. but roofs often need to be replaced while you own your home. So it's just something to keep in mind as you're sort of planning for the future. We actually talk about this, but this is a little bit different perspective on it. Trust a licensed inspector before a friend, or sometimes even before your realtor, if the home you're looking at needs repairs. Because you may have one of them look at it and go, oh, that won't be that much, probably under $5,000. And then you go get estimates and it's, 2 or 3 times as much as what they had said. And look, realtors know a lot of things and they've seen a lot of things, and they may truly have a good idea on the cost. But I really recommend it's still best to get the estimate from someone who actually does that type of work so that you have a better idea of what's really needed and what the real cost is going to be. Let's talk about DIY projects for a minute. And look, DIY projects may seem really simple at first, and sometimes they are. Sometimes it's really straightforward. You're just changing some light bulbs. Other times, it just keeps growing and growing as you find a new problem, as you are dealing with the existing one. So you just really never know. I remember once we changed a light bulb and the fixture broke. The light bulb literally got stuck and it broke that part of the fixture. And of course, it was on a ceiling fan, so we had to choose to either replace the light fixture on the fan or get a new fan. Well, the bigger issue became that these were 2 matching ceiling fans in the room they were in. And the fans we had, of course, were no longer being made. So if we got a new one, they would no longer match. So changing a light bulb turned into replacing 2 ceiling fans. So seriously, y'all, you just never know what'll happen. And it's really crazy how often things just cost more than you think they will. By the same token, though, don't get me wrong, there are times when a project is actually easier and cheaper than you thought. And those are absolute wins that we celebrate. So, you know what? Just roll with whatever happens. Do the best you can. Just know there are some things that you really can't predict how they're going to go. Another one I've heard was that commute was far. So look, drive it. Drive from the house you want to buy to where you work and just see. Because even if it's not that far, it may be some crazy route that's just difficult and you discover, well, that's really the only way I can go. I've seen people actually decide that it wasn't worth it to live in a particular neighborhood due to how crazy the traffic was. They ended up buying a house in an entirely different area of town. So, just a suggestion, something to think about. Another one I've heard that is actually very difficult to kind of get out of if you've already purchased the house. You love the house, but then found out the neighborhood was noisy. Found a super cute house and then discovered it was on a super busy, noisy road. That can really make you regret a purchase really quickly. So we recommend drive by at different times of the day. Then drive by not only on weekdays, but weekends. Really get a feel for what the neighborhood is really like before you purchase. I'm going to be honest, there's several of these I never would have thought of when I was buying my first home. Of course, now I get it, and these are real scenarios that we've actually seen. So it's just some food for thought as you get ready to plan your purchase. And of course, bonus tips. You know, I always have bonus tips. Today, I have 2 for you. Did you know a home purchase is a matter of public record? What that means is you could end up on a mailing list for various companies where you're going to start receiving mail outs from them. Some look legitimate and they will be. Others won't be. So be careful what you agree to. Do your research on that company before you decide to do business with them. And we've said this before, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. The point is, it's important to protect yourself and your information at all times. So stay vigilant. And my next tip today is consider building a strong support network. We all know, we have to be honest, that owning a home at times can just be overwhelming. And having a group of trusted people that you can turn to for advice or assistance can really make a world of difference. And of course, that can be friends or family if you have those folks around that you can lean on or ask for help. But you can also connect with your neighbors. Go meet them, get to know them. You never know how you might be able to help each other out. There also may be local community groups that you could join that has other homeowners that are facing similar challenges. And of course, we all know there are online forums and social media groups and the like. Those are often dedicated to home ownership, and they can be great for helping you out. You might be surprised how many people are in the same boat as you and have the same issues. You know, those kindred spirits can do a lot to help boost your morale when you need it. But they can also be a great place to find resources for the challenges that you may be dealing with. So if you're feeling like you're needing some help, go out and find some. There's someone out there that can help you, I'm sure. Like, the point of all this was not to overwhelm you, but to give you some real life examples of what to look for, and also some examples of why we say save for things that may happen. And look, if you don't notice these things, don't worry, don't freak out. There's always a way to find a solution to any challenge that comes up. We just truly want your home buying experience to be as easy and painless as possible. Home ownership can be a journey filled with learning opportunities. It can also be wonderful and fulfilling. Of course, as always, if you have questions, ask. And if you would like to share some of your own experiences with us, feel free to reach out. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious and enjoy your first home adventures. Thank you so much for listening today. We hope you found this information helpful, and we'd love it if you'd give us a rating. And don't forget to favorite or subscribe to the show. There are several ways you can find us if you need further information or you need to speak with a financial counselor. You can visit us in person in Lafayette or New Iberia, Louisiana, or you can find us at firstpioneers.com. There you can find out how to become a member of our family and find out other financial information. Be sure and check out the show notes for important links and other information. And as always, we're here to help in any way that we can. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.